Okay, guys, so this is one of those ones that makes things really interesting. This is Fortnite running on a 3.4 gigahertz Intel Core i7 4770 with 12 gigs of RAM and a 3 gig NVIDIA Quadro K4000 video card. So, this is what I consider minimum playability. We're running at 1080p, all low settings, full 3D resolution, and epic view distance. This is what everybody wants, I think, for minimum for competitive playing. And this build does hold a solid 60 FPS. So it's not typically it'll go above the 60 in a minute. It looked like 60 to 90, but it seems like it's able to hold a solid 60 FPS or higher, which I don't think anyone really wants to be playing Fortnite under 60. I've done it. It is playable down as low as probably 30 or 40 if you can actually hold it at 30 or 40, but the thing is, most systems that are running at 30 or 40 are running even lower than that and not even holding 30 or 40. It's just peaking at that. But realistically, everyone wants to be at 60 FPS or higher on Fortnite, so that was kind of my goal with this build. I'm going to do a little bit of hardware info on this one at the end of the video, so if you want to see a little more info about the hardware, skip to the end, and I'll have something there. As of the moment of this recording, I haven't decided if I'm going to do a demo video on the system showing the interior or just some photos, but there will be usable info about the system. Anyway, though, let's turn off the mic and see how this thing runs. when you have no idea there's a cliff behind you. Oops. Okay, so stay tuned. I'm gonna go put together some content with relation to the computer itself. I want them on the same video. It's a little easier to encode it all at once, but I'm not entirely certain what it is, so you'll be able to skip past this. I'm thinking maybe a short video run through on the machine itself, because it's kind of an interesting little build. It's a Dell Optiplex mid tower that I've upgraded a bit. So stay tuned for that if you're curious. And otherwise, thanks for watching the video. Okay, so I've gotten a little indication from you guys that you want a little bit more info about the hardware that I'm actually game demoing on. So this is going to be the first one that I do this on. This is not a teardown on this build. Maybe I'll do one on this particular model at some point, but this is kind of just an overview as to what I upgraded on, the parts I used, and the reason why I chose those specific parts. So the base of this machine is a Dell Optiplex 9020. That is the highest end version of Dell's mid-tower lineup. I guess they may have offered a precision based on this. I'm not sure, but this is the highest end standard business grade version of this hardware. It's got 4 RAM slots for a total of 32 gigs of RAM upgradability, for which I upgraded it from 8 to 12. People usually want a little more than 8 now, but not everybody needs 16 or 32. So 12 is kind of a solid middle ground. This particular machine did come with the i7 4770. You'll see, you're going to see a lot more of the 7020s, which are the same basic tower as this, but they're just a little bit lower end, and those are usually going to have i5s. You're going to see a lot more of those. The 9020s you're going to more commonly see with the i7, with the 4770 or 4790. You'll see both. This one's the 4770, which I was considering gutting the chip to build a custom gaming desktop with it, but I decided not to go that route because I already have quite a few 4790 chips on hand. It was just not necessary, and I kind of wanted to see what the market was for an upgraded, upper mid, low upper mid tier i7, previous gen i7 build. And the 4770 is a fairly power efficient chip, which allowed me to add a video card. So my choice on this, originally I wanted to put a 6 series card in. I wanted to put an old 6 series. I had a 650 Ti. I did game on the 650 Ti using Fortnite, and it was awful. I don't know if they changed something on the system requirements on Fortnite. I'm going to have to do a little research on that, but it was not what I have gotten out of 6 series cards in the past. It really should have been only a little bit less than the 660, and I have I've done Fortnite on 660s with less than 2 gigs, and it usually runs just fine. So I think maybe they maybe put in an absolute requirement for 2 gigs video RAM, or maybe they just have moved forward and the 6 series isn't really properly supported anymore with the newer DX. Maybe they're requiring, well, no, the 6 series is DX11, so I don't know. But it was awful. I mean, it was it was randomly drawing crap all over the place. Just weird stuff. I don't think it was a defect either. I think it was an incompatibility. I'm gonna have to get my hands on a 670 or 680 to kind of see how those run and see if it's just a 650 Ti issue, or maybe even just a 2 gigs, a requirement of 2 gigs RAM issue. This video card is a Quadro K2000, or I'm sorry, K4000, which is the same basic technology as a 660 or a 650 Ti, 670, those kind of cards, except with a little more video RAM. So I don't think it's just a straight up incompatibility with 6 series, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to play with more of them to find out. But the reason why I chose this particular card is because I needed an affordable card option, and the thing with these builds is that I'm constrained in a couple of ways. One, I'm trying to build an affordable machine, but the other thing is that I've got power supply constraints. So this is pretty tight. It's got a, what are we looking at? 250, 290. Are we even 300? No, we're at 293. Basically a 300 watt power supply, which for a low power video card and a reasonably low power chip, which the 4770 is, it's definitely doable. But I've got lots of affordable cards that would have hit the same performance envelope. I mean, GTX 580 probably would have been close, and I've got a small stack of those, but you can't put a 580 in a build like this. It's not going to work. I mean, you could try to screw with the power supply with an aftermarket adapter and some other stuff, but it's just not a good option. So I needed a card on hand that would deliver me 60 FPS or better on Fortnite, which is my minimum. I demand 60 FPS on Fortnite. If it can't hit 60 FPS, I'm not going to call it a gaming desktop. If it can't even hit 60 FPS on Fortnite, that's minimum requirement at 1080p. So that was my reason for the choice on this. If you're watching this and you're thinking, yeah, I should go out and buy a K4000. No, do not go out and buy this card. If you get your hands on one for free or for $20 or something, it's a great value, but there is no value in this card as a gaming card at market value. I think market value is still $7,500, maybe 65, 75, something like that. For that money, you're really better off to spend 80 or 90 and watch eBay for, say, a 3 gig 1060. I normally prefer the 1063 gig cards over the 1050 Ti 4 gig cards. I think the 1063 gig on the secondary market often tends to be a little bit better value. For whatever reason, they don't seem to be gold plated in people's minds quite as badly as the 1050 Ti. I don't know why that happens. There's just a certain mystique around the 1050 Ti that seems to have carried on. Occasionally you see a good deal, but I see more readily available good deals on 1060 3 gig cards than the 1050 Ti 4 gig. I did kind of something interesting here. I don't usually put SSDs in these cheaper machines, but this one, this is kind of an interesting build. Like I said, what I'm shooting for here is basically a low-end gaming desktop packaged as a business grade / CAD machine. So that person that wants to do some light CAD work, and then maybe, this is their office computer. Maybe the kids want to play a little bit of Fortnite or, I don't know, Apex Legends, whatever. This is an ideal platform for that. So let me zoom in a little bit here. So for those that want to get a little more, did that work? Oh, that's manual. Oh, I didn't even know the camera did that. Cool. So anyway, yeah, this is the piece of hardware that this Fortnite video was shot on. And again, K4000 video card. 2 4 gig sticks, 2 2 gig sticks. Pretty standard heatsink for the chip. This is these Dell ones have, I would say, close to double the metal of what an Intel stock, the standard Intel stock. But I don't think they have, if I remember right, they don't have the copper block in them, so I don't know what the difference is, but obviously the Intel ones might be a little more efficient for the amount of metal, but my experience is I do seem to get a little bit better results off of the Dell OEM cooler than the Intel stock generic cooler. Yeah, no, I don't see any other stuff relevant. Again, I mean, this has pretty much this checks all the boxes. It's got the video card, it's got the processor, it's got enough RAM, it's got an SSD. I put a small hard drive in it. Oops, you can't see that. Let me back out here. Go back. Okay, so I did put a small hard drive in it. I think it's like a little 320, which is all the buyer for a machine like this really needs. It's a reasonably light use drive, so it's not going to fail right off the get-go. Hopefully, I mean, you guys all know drives, but hopefully it's a reasonably light usage drive, so it should last. Has an optical drive for those who still need it, and it's got USB 3.0, so it's got all the toys that everybody really wants on a cheap machine. Anyway, I hope you guys find this run through interesting. This should also answer questions for anyone that comes across this video in a couple of years. I seem to get that a lot. I get videos where people are like, "What'd you do with this, this, and this?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is a build that's been gone for 2 years, and I do so many builds that I don't really have a whole lot of memory of the builds later." So hopefully this gives kind of a visual record of this build for people that are curious later. Anyway, I hope, again, that this is interesting and informative and answers any questions anyone has. And feel free to ask. If you guys want to start seeing more stuff like this, hey, give me a like on the video. Give me a sub if you can. This is the first time I've done this, and I've got a little bit better lighting now. I've got a little bit better camera gear now. If this continues to get traction, I continue, heading on an upwards trend on the subs. I will slowly continue improving this stuff, including more stuff like this. Even simple, very simple content like this, when you've got a full-time job, this stuff is reasonably time consuming. So definitely it helps me out a little bit to justify doing this stuff if I'm seeing some sort of positive interaction on the videos. Anyway, thanks for watching.